Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the tree and what the tree can mean as a dream symbol. Biblically, the tree has a couple of different meanings, allegorically, what it could mean and how the tree is used to teach a lesson. But in dreams, I want to talk about two major ways the tree is used in dreams. And the first is that trees oftentimes represent leadership or leaders. Whether that's in a nation, like we see in Daniel chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream and Daniel knew in his spirit, by the Spirit of God, that the tree that Nebuchadnezzar dreamt of that was chopped down and just the stump was left was actually himself as a leader, as a king. And then there can be dreams of trees being symbolic of, a pastor or somebody that has leadership where people can find rest or shade or food from, somebody that can offer leadership covering to someone else. So in a dream, you may see a tree that is dying, and all the fruit has fallen off, all the leaves have fallen off, and the Lord may be showing you that's not a good leader to position yourself under, that, or the tree may be producing rotten fruit. And that's another way that the Lord be showing you to avoid that leadership of that person who's acting as a covering. And on the opposite end, that if you see that he's leading you to a group of trees or a tree that is by a river or by a stream and it's fully growing and its leaves are full and it has full fruit, that the Lord is showing you he's bringing you into good leadership that's rooted in the ways of God, as we see in Psalm chapter 1. And so if the Lord wants to deal harshly with a leader, oftentimes it'll be symbolized by cutting it down to its root, where it's just the stump left. And he may do that for a nation. If the overall leadership of a nation is very poor and not producing anything good, and its roots, he may even show you the roots of a tree in the dream, that the roots are actually corrupt and rotten, and it needs to be either completely pulled out or cut down to a stump. And we know in the scripture the stump can represent the remnant that the Lord will leave. He may cut down a nation or cut down leadership, but he will leave the stump. He will leave hope for something new to grow out of it, even though he has to deal harshly with it. And so trees can represent leadership. And so it's important to pay attention to the context of the dream, because a tree can also mean the fruit that's being produced in our life or the life of whoever is being represented in the dream. If they are producing good fruit, and the Lord wants to affirm you that you're producing good fruit, or you're full of life, or maybe he's showing you that you're just starting to bud some leaves in the dream, and he's showing you that you are growing and you're starting to blossom and bloom. And then he may warn you if he shows that there's some things that need to be pruned, some branches, or the fruit's not healthy. And the context of the dream, again, will show that. So other things that trees, leaves on trees can symbolize healing, as mentioned in the book of Revelation. So it's very important to pay attention to the context. And one last thing I'll say, I'll give an example of a dream that I listened to and interpreted. Was a woman was looking at the front yard of her parents' house, and she was looking out at the front yard, and she saw two trees, and one tree was dead, and one tree had beautiful flowers and fruit and were producing on it. And the Lord was kind of showing multiple things that these trees represented. It was in the future, but it was produced by her in her bloodline, in the family line, because she was at her parents' house, things she learned growing up and taught, and she had to make a choice whether she would choose the legacy that produced death in the family, or the life-giving legacy that were both offered by her parents' upbringing. And so we see that the trees represented leadership, but they also represented legacy. They represented generations, and they represented good fruit versus bad fruit. So I hope this encourages you. I know that trees have a little more of symbolism attached to them, but I believe that these couple of symbols will help you in understanding what trees can represent.